Hello everyone, welcome back again to Tbsp Delight. How are you all doing? I hope you're all doing fine. Today we are making one of my favorite nuts. I love this nut. I can take it morning, afternoon, evening, and it is meat pies. You like the sound of it, right? This meat pie recipe is crisp on the outside and very juicy on the inside, and I promise anyone who has it will definitely ask for more. As always, let's go straight into it. We'll begin by making the filling of the pie, and remember, to a large extent, the taste of your meat pie is always dependent on your filling. So let me show you the ingredients. You need your onions, minced meat, salt, white pepper, black pepper, fennel powder, vegetable seasoning, my minced garlic, onion and ginger paste, some cornstarch, cumin seed, shrimp seasoning, and a little bit of olive oil. As always, I will leave the exact quantities of ingredients in the description box below. Begin by chopping 3½ medium-sized onions into small cubes. Oops, that entered my eye. You know how onions can make you cry even when there is no reason to? Heat up a pan on medium-low heat. Add a little bit of olive oil and add your chopped onions. Remember to use a tiny bit of olive oil as the minced beef has a lot of oil in it. To this, add ½ a teaspoon each of your black pepper, vegetable seasoning and cumin seeds. Stir it to combine and allow it to fry on medium-low heat for a minute. To prevent your minced meat from clumping together, roughly cut through your minced beef, as the smaller it is, the easier it is to break up the pieces while cooking. You can use any meat of your choice, but in this case I'm using beef as it works better for me for this recipe. After a minute, give your onion one last stir, add your minced beef, then 1 teaspoon each of your black pepper, shrimp seasoning, fennel powder, white pepper, some salt, 2 tablespoons of minced garlic, ginger and onion, 1 tablespoon of vegetable seasoning or any seasoning of your choice, and 1 teaspoon of cumin seed. Stir it all together to combine while breaking it up with your spatula, as you don't want any clumps in your meat pie filling. Now remember, the ingredients I just mentioned are not strict, as well as the measurements aren't. You just have to season it to your preferred taste, okay? Once it's well combined, turn the heat to very low heat and allow it to simmer while you move on to your dough. Moving on to the dough, you definitely need your flour, butter, salt, nutmeg, and some whole milk. It is now time to show you the secret ingredient, which is onion. The onion adds a lot of flavor and taste to your pies. Don't omit it, I promise. Don't think, what's she doing? I promise, it's really nice. So please don't omit it. All you have to do, well, you need some gloves on because you don't want to finish with onions on your hands, or smelling on your hands, I mean. So you need your grater, the very small part of the grater. Grate the onion on the fine part of your grater to get a smooth paste. The onion takes your pie to a whole new level, so even if you're in doubt, please do try it and you will thank me later. Into a large bowl, add about 800 grams of flour, 1½ teaspoon of nutmeg and ½ teaspoon salt. Nutmeg adds a whole lot of flavor to your meat pies, so please don't omit it. I can't imagine baking pies without nutmegs. Stir them together to combine and add your cold butter. First, crush it with a pastry crusher. If you don't have one like me, crush it with a fork and then go in with your fingers. Make sure not to use your palm, as your palm will produce heat which you do not want for your pies. So the way to go is to use your fingertips, hold it together, flake it and mix as you go. Don't use your palm, okay? If your dough holds together when you press it into a bowl, then you're good to go. You can then add 1 tablespoon of the minced onion, then add your cold whole milk in bits, The milk will serve as a binding agent for your dough, so make sure not to add it all at once or else it will be too wet for you to work with. We only want it to bind together enough to be able to roll, okay? Once the dough comes together without falling apart, don't add any more milk. Now you can also substitute the milk with some water if you do not like milk. You can transfer it to your wet top, knead it to get a ball, wrap it with a cling film and set it in the fridge for 30 to 40 minutes. Allowing the dough to rest in the fridge will help the crust to be more flaky and crunchy. Now let's wash our hands and continue. I'll then add the rest of my spicing, and the way to go to get the best filling is by spicing as you go. So let's say if you're using 1 tablespoon of each spice, divide and add in stages so that by the end you would have added 1 tablespoon of each. Add some water to 1 tablespoon of cornstarch and add to your filling, and look at that moistness. Add the rest of your chopped onions in the end and allow it to fry for about 30 seconds. This will allow some crunch once your filling is ready. That looks so good. If you don't like a lot of onions like I do, don't add it, preference, okay? Once it's ready, set it aside and allow it to cool before you start molding your pies. Line your baking tray with some baking sheet. Alternatively, you can smear it with some flour to prevent your pies from sticking onto the trays while baking. Once your dough is ready to mold and your filling has cooled off, divide your dough into manageable sizes to be able to roll it. If you have enough muscle power, you can do it together and cut it while you go. Make sure not to roll your dough in a mashing manner, but rather press, roll and release, press, roll and release on different sides, just like shown on your screen. If you do it in a mashing manner, your dough will be elastic and you won't get that crunchiness and flakiness you need. Once it spreads well, cut it with any round object or any shaped object of your choice. In my case, I'm using my pie mold, but for the sake of those who do not have it, I'll only use it as a cutter and use my fingers to shape it. So this is the thickness I'm going for. If you want it thinner, roll it a bit thinner, okay? Add your filling to 1/2 of the dough, making sure you leave enough space on the edge of that half. Smear some water on the bottom edge of the dough to serve as a sealant, then flip the other half over, ensuring it overlaps the bottom one slightly. This will help you get a perfectly shaped pie. My best friend once sent me pictures of some pie she made, but the shape wasn't as good. So I decided to take my time and show it very well in this video. Seal it with your fingers by making small holes into it, but make sure not to make deep holes. And voila, you have a perfectly looking pie. You realize that I didn't add any baking powder to my dough. As for me, I feel it takes away some of the flakiness. I stand to differ. This is down to preference. If you'd add it and you like it, that's fine. It's all down to preference, okay? Preference. Repeat the same process for the rest of your dough, not forgetting the little hack for the perfectly shaped pies is by making the top half of your dough slightly overlap the bottom half, okay? Don't forget this. My best friend, you know yourself and I'm sure you're watching this. Forgive me, darling. As you cut and shape your pies, there will be offcuts. Make sure to remold this until you get the very small piece. As you can see here, I'm using the smaller part of my pie mold to mold it to the very small one. And as you can see in the end, I molded it to actually the shape of a dumpling. When I was younger, I used to throw out the offcuts. I learned and I'm showing. Don't throw them away like me, okay? You need to create some holes in the pie to help the inside of the pie to cook.
but mine is well cooked, so I'm only making some artistic impressions on the pie. Smear the surface of your pie with some milk or egg to give the top of your pies that glassy surface finish. Transfer your pies to your lined baking tray and pop it into a preheated oven at 200 degrees and allow it to bake for 15 to 25 minutes, keeping an eye on it. And after 20 minutes, it's ready! Transfer it to a cooling rack and allow it to cool off. Store it in the fridge for up to 2 weeks. These pies were so good, we just couldn't wait. We consumed half of it. Look at how golden and beautiful that looks. Bake it longer if you want it browner, or less if you want it whiter. I like in between, and it's simply yums. Let's crack one open to see how it looks on the inside. Just look at that moistness. It's so moist on the inside, not running moist, but just perfect moist, and very flaky and crunchy on the outside. Let's do justice to these pies, shall we?
Pies are best taken when they are very hot. Well, hot. Let's try it. Hold on, I'm missing something. Some good Coke. Actually, I like it with mould, but there's no mould at home now, so Coke. Don't judge me. Cheat sometimes is not bad. This is really nice. It's indescribable. You just have to make it to understand what I'm talking about. It tastes good. That's it for today, my lovelies. If you enjoyed this video, kindly give me a big thumbs up. Don't forget to leave a comment, as there are all ways of YouTube recognizing my channel and recommending it to many more people. If you haven't subscribed, this is Debsy's Delight. Kindly click on the subscribe button as well as the little bell so that whenever I post a video, you will be instantly notified. Until we meet again, I love you all, but God loves you the most. Bye for now.